Hey there, this is Dan. You're watching The Salty Sea, and I think I was too pessimistic with my predictions yesterday. I've been looking at the flags for the Warhammer Fest preview tomorrow, and I'm pretty excited for what we might see. Now, now that I've recorded this video, I'm sure we're just going to get just the Red Harvest and that's it for Warcry, but who knows? I think speculation's fun anyway, so let's dig into these flags. So we've got 6 game systems getting shown off next week. Ours is going to be on the Friday. And there's 12 flags here, which has some nice symmetry to it. So the first one we know, Leagues of Votan, Sweet Kharadron Overlords proxies. GW has been sort of pre-previewing them on Warhammer Community. We know this is a lock. I was I'm really excited for the leagues, but just the idea of dwarves in 40k is really cool. But the one that they showed wasn't that exciting. I mean, I would definitely use it as a Arcanaut proxy and be pretty happy with that. But I'm just hoping their vehicles are really incredible, because otherwise it's just kind of a person in a suit, and that's it. We've also got the Ash Waste Nomads flag. I was surprised at how much I wasn't into the people riding fleas, but that's okay. I promise we'll get more positive on some of these going forward. We have a Chaos Space Marines flag. Now this could be Horus Heresy or it could be 40k. Word Bearers and World Eaters are the 2 red Chaos Space Marine factions. This could easily be either one of those. So 4 possibilities, right? 40k Word Bearers, 40k World Eaters, the same 2 things for Horus Heresy, who knows? Then we've got Imperial Fists. I think this is a more old-timey version of their logo. I'm not 100% sure, so it's probably Horus Heresy, but I'm not 100% on that. This is every professional painter's favorite Space Marine faction. They all like to show off the fact that they can paint yellow and you can't. So I actually do enjoy seeing those paint jobs, so we'll see what they come up with here. We've also got the generic Necromunda skull. This could mean just like basic Necromunda stuff, like that doesn't have a warband, or it could just be filler with the flags, right? We've got the same thing with Kill Team, right? This is the generic Kill Team logo. It could be just the fact that Kill Team will be shown and they're just looking for flags here, or it could be, something that's not faction tied that's for Kill Team. We've also got the Eye of Horus. Now we know that the Saturday is going to be entirely Horus Heresy based. I would expect a ton of Horus Heresy stuff, just in general. So this could just be generic Horus Heresy, or it could just mean we see a bunch of Sons of Horus stuff for Horus Heresy. Who knows, right? Given that they've put the headlining preview for this game, given how much work they've put into showing off their sort of release for this game, I would expect more, not less, from whatever they preview there. We've also got some sort of science fiction square. Uh, who knows what that is? I think it's Leagues of Votan. It's got the same banner top as them. We see the Leagues of Votan banner has this little sort of dwarven hammer on it, and they've got the same on this Sci-Fi square. So that's what I would bet. I wonder if it means maybe, I'll get into this with Sylvaneth, but it could mean 2 different sub-factions. It could mean that Leagues of Votan are going to be in 2 different systems. We could see 40k and Kill Team leagues. Probably the most sort of mysterious and exciting of these flags is this sort of Chaos Bone Mutant flag, right? It's got the 8 points like a Chaos Star, that kind of mutated skull, kind of weird curvy skull. It almost looks like something that would be in 40k. It's unfortunately got the same sort of banner top, this Aquila here. It's got the same one as the Kill Team logo, which is too bad, because I was hoping for this to be fantasy focused, but it is refreshing to see something brand new, so I think that's pretty cool. It also, aesthetically, it matches that freaky silhouette, which looks like something that would be more AOS focused. Those are kind of in conflict. It could just be that these banner tops don't mean as much as we'd think they do, right? For example, this Chaos Space Marine top and the Warcry logo top have the same So who knows, really. Finally, we have the Chaos Star. This is likely just serving as the generic Warcry logo, but it could indicate like a Slaves to Darkness cultist band, right? Um, you know, it could just be the logo for Warcry standing in for any of the original 6 bands, for example. We'll get to that later. Um, then we've got 2 different Sylvaneth banners, and this is what actually got me excited. This is what actually got me to record a second video after just reporting this as news in my last one. I'm incredibly excited about the idea that we'll have different Sylvaneth releases all shown in this preview. And there's really 2 distinct possibilities here, and I think they're both really exciting. Before I get to those, I want to kind of put them in context. These are my hot picks for what we see for the Sci-Fi systems, because what speculation video is complete without some incredibly wrong speculations? For Necromunda, I think we're going to get Ashwaste Nomad expansions, and I think that'll be it. That box was pretty big, and so they'll give you kind of like aftershock things after that box. For 40K, we're going to see these huge Kharadron Overlords previews, right? If they don't show just a whole bunch of different things for Leagues of Votann, then it's going to be hard to get excited for them, right? Because all we've seen is this one sort of very, very basic soldier. My dream is a KO army that's kind of 50-50 with Leagues, and I can play it in both systems. I think that would be just the coolest thing. So we'll see what we get. For Horus Heresy, there's a lot of guesses. I do think we'll see Imperial Fists versus World Eaters there. That would just be my guess, would be because they showed that giant Bloodthirster, right? That is for Forge World for Horus Heresy, and I would just be surprised if they showed that giant Bloodthirster and then didn't give it, some Space Marines to play with. So the World Eaters would be the little corn friends for that Bloodthirster. Then Imperial Fists, just because they showed the flag, and who doesn't love painting yellow? I do think the Horus Heresy stuff. They're going to show stuff for each of the different 18 Space Marine factions that all come with that. So this is not the last we hear of Horus Heresy before it releases. Then Kill Team. This is kind of a shakier prediction. I'm guessing Leagues of Votann versus whatever that Chaos Bone Mutant flag was for. It'd be a bit of a surprise to see a box with 2 brand new factions in it. All of the Kill Team boxes recently have been kind of twists on existing stuff, right? Starting with Death Corps versus Orc Commandos, right? Those are sort of a twist on Guard with a twist on Orcs. So I don't know what the Chaos Bone Mutant thing would be. I've heard people talk Traitor Guard. I've heard essentially it seems like every speculator is just speculating it's a thing for their own favorite system, which is our right as ridiculous fans of this game. So we'll see what it is. I've got my own sort of hopes of what it could be for Warcry. But the really good stuff here is the double Sylvaneth flags. Possibility 1, and I think this is the more likely, we see an absolutely staggering sized Sylvaneth expansion for AOS. I'm talking like multiple sub-factions. We see Kurnothi and regular Sylvaneth. There's infinite possibilities, I think they found, for what you can do with the Revenant chassis. I call it a chassis just because they've done so many different takes on it, right? The Arch Revenant, the Warsong Revenant, Drycha, of course, being the original, the Spite Revenants and Tree Revenants. I think that they could make new Revenants, for decades, I think, with Sylvaneth. And I kind of hope we see more, because I do think there's really cool possibilities that they haven't kind of done yet. I think the troop line of Revenants is their least impressive bit of Revenants, so I would love to see them kind of update that, especially with their new sensibilities. AOSified Wood Elves is basically what Kurnothi are, right? They're, Wanderers, but taken up to 11. I would be, it would not shock me to see a whole bunch of those. That would be really exciting. Yeah, I mean, just look at Skaith's Wild Hunt. The possibilities there are really amazing. This would be paired with a really small Warcry update. So if you just love Warcry, you're not into AOS, this would be kind of bad news. Although we would eventually get those sweet Kurnothi rules for Warcry, and that would be amazing. But in that case, it would likely just be a repack of the Tarantulos and Dark Oath stuff. This wouldn't be mutually exclusive with potentially an Underworlds repack. We could get something like that, but it would be a very minor update, and it wouldn't really be anything new. The other possibility is we get sort of a medium-sized Sylvaneth expansion where it's just, say, one unit, again, probably a Revenant unit, one hero, just that are going to be in the Sylvaneth versus Skaven summer box that they've kind of teased. And then we'd get a big new Warcry box, right? So it could be kind of the Sylvaneth version of the Khainite Shadowstalkers. That would be pretty exciting. You could easily see something like with Skaith's Wild Hunt, them expanding that sort of Kurnothi concept to a Warcry warband. That would kind of fit what they've done with Kurnothi so far, of not giving you anything major with them, not teasing anything major, because there aren't even rumors of Kurnothi coming soon, right? All the rumors have been that Umbraneth are going to be here way before Kurnothi are. So it would kind of fit the rumors more if they just put in a Kurnothi Warcry warband to kind of just keep testing the waters. It almost felt like Skaith's Wild Hunt and the Kurnothi Archer that was in the Cursed City box. It almost felt like those were them kind of testing or kind of getting the beta test on Kurnothi concepts, and I wouldn't be surprised to see kind of a slightly different Kurnothi concept to see sort of how the public reacts before they kind of commit to actually doing a full army of this, because Wood Elves is such a classic fantasy concept that I think they just want to make sure that they absolutely nail it when they actually do it for this game. So I wouldn't be surprised if we're essentially seeing their third draft of what this concept is going to look like before they commit to a final. That would be pretty exciting. That would probably come with another new Chaos Warband, maybe some Spooky Forest terrain, maybe kind of a repack of that Wildwoods terrain box, something like that. I would hope it's more than just the Wildwoods terrain box, because that terrain set isn't the greatest for playing Warcry. It's there's no line of sight blocking. There's very little, there's nothing to climb, for example. But if they could make like climbable brambles and stuff like that, that could be really amazing. So let's put this all together into some very wrong predictions. They made a rumor engine, and it's just a mini dirge horn. This is the endless spell for Beasts of Chaos. The horn for the rumor engine matches it perfectly. So I would expect that that's what it is something for beasts. They just got a Tome Celestial, and they've never updated a faction right after giving it a White Dwarf. So I would be shocked if this means that they are the Chaos book this summer. So much has kind of been shown, has been leaked, suggesting Skaven. So I'm seeing a ton of people online predicting Beasts of Chaos versus Sylvaneth box set for AOS. And I think those are just people kind of going towards their own system. So I'm just going to do that for Warcry instead. I'm going to predict Beasts of Chaos versus Sylvaneth in Warcry. We see kind of BOC and Sylvaneth getting their versions of the Khainite Shadowstalkers. You could say that, one thing that makes this less likely is there's no Beasts of Chaos flag. But it's possible that that's just what the Chaos Bone Mutant weird flag that we saw there was. It's also possible that the generic Warcry kind of Chaos Cross, that 8-pointed star can stand for anything in Chaos, so it could easily be beasts. So that's my sort of prediction there. That would mean, that would kind of kill that kill team prediction I made. So maybe what we see instead is like the Horus Heresy is Imperial Fists versus Sons of Horus, and then kill team we see like Leagues of Votan versus World Eaters. That'd be a little weird since they just did Chaos Space Marines, but why not, right? Because World Eaters are pretty different from the basic Chaos Space Marines. I imagine, they've been essentially threatening to do the god-specific Chaos Space Marine warband for ages, and they're always really different from the base ones. Or, you know, the rubric Marines are totally different from a Chaos Space Marine. Death Guard are totally different. So it wouldn't be that weird, I think, for them to show it. It'd just be a little unusual. We could also just see Imperial Fists and Sons of Horus and World Eaters for Horus Heresy, because they're all in that setting. And like I said, I think we're going to see a lot of stuff for that game. So kind of a lot of different possibilities for the Sci-Fi games, but I do think, you know, I'm planting my flag on Beasts of Chaos versus Sylvaneth and Warcry. That's a little different than I think what my wish list would be. I figure it's worthwhile to take a time to kind of talk about what I would love to see. I do love the idea of a Sylvaneth Warcry warband. I like the idea of seeing Beasts of Chaos, but my number one wish list for the next Warcry box, or if there's ever a Warcry 2.0, is expansions to some of the original warbands. An expansion to Corvus Cabal, to Untamed Beasts. I mean, what we saw for K-Knight Shadowstalkers in Underworlds, of them getting more stuff, and then they're going to have different abilities from the basic Shadowstalkers, even though it's essentially the same sculpts. Kind of a dream come true if you play that faction, right? You get a whole new playstyle potentially in the future. I would love to see that for some of the more popular original 6 out of Warcry. There's a chance of this. It could be that that generic Warcry banner is standing in for a Slaves to Darkness warband. So there's just a very small chance, and I would really love to see it. My other wish list that I didn't put here is I would love to not see 2.0 in the future. I think, you know, these sort of new editions of these games, they tend to come with a pretty significant rules change. Warcry's base rule set is really excellent. I would hate to see a lot of changes to it. It just needs sort of a hype refresh, and I think you kind of saw that. There was a ton of new interest in the game when the Tome of Champions came out and provided rules for all the Underworlds warbands. So I think just continued regular support of this game. They've shown that Kill Team can handle 4 updates a year, so I would like to think that that means Warcry could handle 2 major updates / box sets a year. And so that would be my number one wish, is they just kind of establish a new pattern of 2 of these boxes every year, and you know, you can get either one, the way they've done with Kill Team sort of, but at half the speed. And then, you know, to kind of piggyback onto that Tome of Champions, what I would love to see is Underworld's Warcry boxes. So if these 24 that they're phasing out from the original game, if they just took, say, 4 to 6 of them and said, okay, we're putting in boxes here for Warcry, you'll probably see sort of rotations of this, and then you have so many possibilities for what you could release for this game, right? You could use Stormsire's Curse Breakers plus the ETB Castigator kit, you know, Skaith's Wild Hunt and 8 Dryads, Morgoth's Crushers and 5 Ardboys, right? Tons of possibilities, and you could just kind of, every year you could just rotate through 5 more of them and just kind of never run out. And I think, you know, I think a lot of people would find that to be kind of the absolute perfect way to start a warband, getting lots of unique sculpts and, you know, a few basic ones is essentially the promise of the sort of original packs for Warcry, the original factions, except it would be done for the AOS factions, which would be perfect. And then a lot of these that I proposed on the screen aren't the most competitive way to expand on these Underworlds kits, but that's good, that's ideal. You don't want to be giving people the most competitive warbands straight away in one box. That's not kind of the way to create fun games when people bring them home. So yeah, that's my wish list. Quick video today, just, you know, everyone's getting their speculation in for what we could see at Warhammer Fest, and I figured it'd be silly not to get mine. So I'll come out with more Warcry strategy videos in the future. I had been planning to do the sort of yearly update on my starter list for Warcry series, but the issue there is it would be pretty silly to put a bunch of lists together and then have our preview on Friday be, totally obsoleting them. So I'm probably going to wait 2 weeks before I release that video just to make sure that our previews don't sort of completely change how I would do, especially the budget lists. So a pause on that one until we see kind of how this underworld stuff plays out, how the new releases play out, and then we'll give that another shot. So until then, may all your rolls be crits.